When I was a kid, I used to love watching Jack LaLanne videos. Old black and white videos of him exercising and talking to the camera while he was exercising. He would do like 1,000 bar dips, and while he was doing 1,000 bar dips, he would say things like, your muscles are under your control. If you tell your muscles to do 1,000 dips, your muscles will do 1,000 dips. And I thought that was so cool. Later, I read this book that kind of reminded me of that. It was just a generic book on how to get a six-pack, or how to get in shape, or how to lose weight. And the first chapter was this guy's philosophy. And he was saying that your body is a result of your actions. Your life is a result of your actions. On a deeper level, he let loose his life philosophy and a guide on how to get a six-pack. Everything that you have in life is a result of the decisions you've made. Now, granted, some things that happen to us are outside of our control. We have no way to know what other people are going to do. We have no way to control the environmental factors that may negatively or positively impact our life. But we do control how we respond to those things. This is an ancient idea from Buddhism, an ancient idea from Stoicism. And this guy was talking about this ancient idea in a book on how to get a six-pack, that everything in your life is a result of the actions and the decisions you've made. If you accept this treatise, if you accept this premise, you have massive control over your life. Then he got into the part about how to eat right, how to exercise right, to get a six-pack. I listened to this interesting podcast the other day about a hypnotist who had discovered a brand new way to hypnotize yourself so you can more easily hypnotize other people. And it wasn't about self-hypnosis. She started off by talking about how a lot of people use self-hypnosis, how you can use self-hypnosis to become more confident, how you can use self-hypnosis to become more extroverted, how you can use self-hypnosis to increase your income, how you can use self-hypnosis to improve and increase your intelligence and your memory. She said she went beyond all that back when she was a consultant for a lot of sales companies. She started out as a regular clinical therapist, but one thing led to another. One of her clients hooked her up with another client, and she ended up doing some consulting with a lot of companies that had a lot of salespeople. And so she would work at these companies, and she would talk to these salespeople, and she would use various hypnotic techniques to get them to improve their sales, to improve confidence so that you can improve your sales, to improve your ability to talk a good game so you can improve your sales. And because they gave her such a free rein, she started to experiment with how she could hypnotize people. And she started to notice something. And she started to notice that a lot of people, when we talk to other people, we're all surrounded by our own bubble of self-hypnosis that we don't recognize. She said it's like how a fish doesn't recognize the water that surrounds the fish. We all have our own bubble of self-hypnosis, and when we communicate with other people, this bubble of self-hypnosis, which is connected to our ego instinct, informs how we talk to other people. And what happens is our energetic bubble of self-hypnosis has an automatic reciprocal effect on the person that we're talking to. And for example, a lot of her customers, or a lot of her clients that were talking to customers, a lot of the salespeople that she was trying to hypnotize, when they would talk to their customers, they would say things like, this customer has bad energy. This customer has negative energy. This customer has limitations. I can't sell to this customer because this customer has a scarcity mindset. I can't sell to this customer because this customer is plagued by doubt and self-sabotage. But what she discovered, but all these things that we think we are discerning in other people, all these things that we think are feeling that are coming from other people are really bouncing off them and coming back to us, and they originate in us. And so she came up with a way to de-hypnotize the salespeople, not self-hypnosis to change themselves, but de-hypnotize this hypnotic bubble that we're all surrounded by. And when you de-hypnotize yourself from this hypnotic bubble that we're all surrounded by, you can much more clearly see the actual objective hypnotic bubble that the other person is surrounded by. Because when you get rid of this hypnotic bubble, when you take this self-imposed hypnotic bubble, this ego-driven, self-imposed hypnotic bubble that surrounds everybody, and get rid of that and become completely neutral, you can see the other person exactly how they are. You can read their own hypnotic scripts that are running inside of their mind. You can listen to the hypnotic stories that they are telling themselves subconsciously inside of their mind. And once you learn how to do this, once you learn how to de-hypnotize yourself, once you learn how to get rid of your ancient and environmentally programmed, evolutionarily programmed, ego-driven, self-hypnotic bubble, you can see the ego-driven, self-hypnotic bubble of other people. And once you clearly see the ego-driven, self-hypnotic bubble of other people, and you get rid of your own self-hypnotic bubble, you know exactly what questions to ask them. You know exactly how to lead the conversation. And some of the salespeople that she experimented with, they started selling like crazy. They were at one particular car dealership where she worked for a lot of these car dealerships that were all owned by the same big family. And she said that the average rate of sale is about 10%, meaning that if you're a salesperson and somebody comes walking off the street, you have about a 10% chance of selling a car to this person. But once she taught this anti-self-hypnotic technique to a few people, they started closing at 80, 90%, meaning 9 out of 10 people that walked in off the street, they would sell a car to, simply because they could de-hypnotize themselves. And once they de-hypnotize themselves, they could see the other person through their own hypnotic bubble. And once you talk to other people through their own hypnotic bubble, you can listen to their hypnotic stories and talk to them in terms of their hypnotic stories and get them to buy whatever you want them to buy. And she tried this on a few other different companies where she was being a consultant, and she realized this is such a gold mine, that this is such a powerful process, that she stopped being a consultant and she started to counsel people, rich people, wealthy people, famous people, and she started to charge a ton of money for this technique to see other people through their own hypnotic bubble and talk to them through the inside of their own hypnotic bubble without them even knowing what's happening, and only ask them questions and get them to do whatever you want them to do for their own reasons. And she talked about a lot of other things. One of her books that she's writing about how ancient evolutionary pressures caused us to self-hypnotize ourselves to work with other people. And she went off on a couple of strange sounding tangents that back in the old days of hunter-gatherers, we weren't really individuals. We had this very, very shared collective consciousness that's kind of fractionated today, which is causing all the problems today. And she is trying to get to the point where she can teach people how to communicate with others, to reestablish this collective consciousness where we all feel like we are part of the same hive mind. Now, I don't know if this matters to you. I don't know what's in your mind. I don't know how well you want to hypnotize yourself so you can hypnotize other people, hypnotize other people, hypnotize other people, hypnotize other people. But thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.